Hello everyone, Rob Pilger here. I don't know, about 3 months ago, James Smith of Diesel Crew interviewed me and asked me some of the different things I've been doing to condition my fighters and some of the favorite means I like to use for conditioning my fighters. I kind of went off on a totally different rant, not really totally different, about conditioning, more of the mental aspect of it. So with that, tonight I want to talk about some of the tools that we've been using that traditionally aren't really used in boxing and fight sports, period. The Prowler has become very popular, rightfully so. It's a fantastic training tool, and we've been using that. Fighters are traditionally, as everybody knows, anyways, those in fight sports, the fighters told to wake up, crack of dawn, get your road work. And road work can range anywhere from 5, 8, even 9, 10 miles a day. I was told as a fighter by one coach to run 7 times, 7 days a week, and 1 time a day. And the cortisol levels were sky high, weak as hell, no muscle mass. It was just bullshit. So, fighters really aren't taught to condition using external resistance. And I myself, I found it to be, increase my stamina like never before. For instance, I sparred 6 5-minute rounds. I never sparred 5-minute rounds in my life, and I was able to do that because of the work I've been doing with the sled, and my fighters have been able to go longer rounds, and the work capacity has improved throughout the round by using the Prowler. And we load it differently. We'll push anywhere from 20 yards when we increase the load on it, anywhere from 40 yards and 50 yards. Obviously, there's an inverse relationship there. So when we run when we sprint 50 to 60, even 60 yards with it, more so 40 to 50 yards, the intensity isn't as much on there, but we load the intensity, and we do 20 yards with it, sometimes even 15, and we like to use incomplete rest periods. And obviously, as the intensity, the load is increased on the Prowler, intensity goes up. We'll use a little bit longer rest periods, but say we go in 40, 50 yards, and if we do go 60, I like to use incomplete rest periods about 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and that's working out phenomenally. We'll use anywhere from 10 sets, even up to 20 sets, depending on the current readiness and work capacity of the fighter. Another big training tool I've become a fan of is at Westside Barbell. Louis taught me how to use the tread sled. I've been bringing some of my fighters over there and kicking their ass. The way I use it, I'll use sometimes I'll go on there and I'll put on a 25-pound weight vest. Then I'll put a strong mini band attached around my ankles, and there's this bar at the end of the tread sled. I loop it around that bar and I attach the strong mini band around my ankles, and that's pulling you back as you're walking on the tread sled. And I'll put 10-pound ankle weights on each ankle and walk with that. I'll do 30 seconds on and 30 seconds off, and I'll increase the intensity. Sometimes, I'll work my way up. Every week I'll add maybe an extra 2 sets, and what I like to do is, like on the 3rd week, I'll put a 50-pound weight vest on, keep the strong mini band on, and I'll keep the 10-pound ankle weights on. What I'm going to do next for my next wave is I'm actually going to attach. I can put a bar on top of another bar, and I've done it before. Is I'll take a strong green band and I'll put it around my chest, and as I'm walking on there, it's going to want to push me back even more. So that adds even more resistance. But when I brought a kid over there about 2 weeks ago, and he started to use it, and we only loaded him with a mini band. Start off conservative. We used a mini band around his ankles and 10-pound ankle weights, and I didn't put a weight vest on there, and it kicked his ass. And he did very well. Totally different conditioning effect than running. And I'm still a fan of using in skill training. I've said before, I said in an interview with Smitty that I think sometimes strength coaches overtrain. Now, not to contradict myself, they only do that when there's a lack of communication. Let me be straight with this. Let me make myself clear with this. They only do that when there's a lack of communication between what they're doing in skill training and lack of communication basically between the skill coach and the strength and conditioning coach. Because from what I've studied, from James Smith, is I really believe in the high-low method as far as managing and training stressors. And say we do ballistic jumping rope in here, we do jumping rope intervals. And I'd love to do those where I'll do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off for for the duration of the 3-minute round. 30 seconds on as far as jumping as fast and kicking your knees up as fast as you can, as high as you can and as fast as you can. 30 seconds regular jumping rope at just a regular pace, regular jumping rope. Then we'll go to the heavy bag and we'll do 30 seconds as fast as you can punch, as fast as hard as you can punch while the other guy's holding the bag. And switch 30 seconds off. You really don't get a rest because you have to hold the bag while he's punching it. And what I mean by that is, say you do that on Monday, and Tuesday you go out and you do really hard sprints or really hard prowler intervals, and you even sparred and you have to spar the next day. You're frying your nervous system out and you're having you're overtraining there. So that's what I meant by that is you have to have clear communication, and you really have to understand how, when, and why you want to use these tools. Because if you have never used a tread sled, it's going to kick your ass. It's going to make you very sore. Same thing with the prowler. So you got to know their place in the training, and you have to communicate with the skill coach. What's his plans for the training during the week? When's the fighter going to spar? Again, what's he doing conditioning-wise during the skill training? So keep that in mind. That's why I say I think a lot of and you talk to fighters that have worked with strength coaches, and tell me that they feel beat up. You have to be very careful with that. Not all do that, but those that do, it's from really a lack of communication. I wouldn't say really a lack of knowledge base, but you have that too. And then I like to use. We got a nice lot across the street outside my gym here, and we'll do kind of shuttle runs. I like tempo runs for a lighter day of conditioning to help with recovery. Follow the leader drills, change of direction drills. And really the best part, my favorite means of conditioning is, to top it all off, is the sparring. Competitive sparring, you talk about putting all the conditioning together, mental, physical, and even spiritual. You get that all in one when you do rough sparring, and in the ring here. And you can switch it up. I get in there with a lighter fighter to work on speed. You want to talk about changing direction drill, there it is. In live action, you got punches coming at you. You want to work, you can work with a heavier fighter. Get used to a heavier fighter walking you down. Get used to that heavier ring presence. Get used to having a guy lean on you, a heavier guy lean on you. You talk about upping your conditioning. You do that, for one night, you're going to be like, God, this sucks. But you do that for a couple sparring sessions. It's really going to up your game. Getting used to a lighter fighter and a heavier fighter, and of course getting in there with somebody your own weight, mixing up like that really increases your conditioning, your mental preparedness levels too. And one more thing before I forget, I like to use too is the Indian clubs. I've become a big fan of those. Louis Simmons taught me how to use those, and I use them in my training. And you can create all kinds of circuits. You could do with the Indian clubs. You can do the Indian clubs, for a minute, jump up and down on a tire, on a box, do around the speed rope. About a minute, 30 seconds of high knee jump rope. Different ways to condition like that, and I'll put a weight vest on. I have my guys put a weight vest on. So as the work capacity improves, and as they get used to these different training tools, the sled, and the prowler, and the tread sled. And of course, we do use the sleds too. We love the sled pulls. Different ways of using the sleds. Those three things are something you really don't see in traditional boxing training. Fighters get bored with the long distance running, and you get an aggressive fighter. I think aggressive fighters will stick to these conditioning protocols when they have aggressive training tools like the prowler. It's a nasty piece of equipment. Even the sleds, different ways of using the sleds, and of course the tread sled. That's really it takes it's mental conditioning itself using that. So that's what we're doing at our gym, and it's what's working for me, and that's what's working for my fighters, and that's what we're going to keep using. We're going to keep using these tools and using them in different ways. And I would recommend everybody out there do the same thing. Get the Indian clubs at westsidebarbell.com. Tread sled, Louis Simmons' website, westsidebarbell.com is for the prowlers. I'll go to elitefts.com. Get on there. They got a great Ecno prowler on there and a regular prowler. Give these training tools. Give these a shot in your training. Start implementing them in your training, and watch the difference that you'll see them make for yourselves.